Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, this is related to the redefining of some norms in the engineering education because we had a really good experience during COVID to look at the differences that we have with respect to delivery of the engineering programs and the other arts and science programs. I have these 4 co-authors that are listed here with me, and they are not available here. They may be joining online. The sequence of presentation is I'll just quickly go through the introduction, something related to the engineering education, the definition of engineers and engineering, so what all is required. Then there are some competencies that are defined for to become an engineer, which are to be developed during the educational time period, and then later on when the engineer is working in the field. Then I'll quickly talk about some learning domain and the techniques through which these learning domains can be delivered and the competencies can be achieved. And then the alternate techniques that we have developed during the COVID time period. And then I'll quickly wind up with just letting you know that what is the recent with the norms. Okay. There were these few things that I read over in some of the articles that predict the future. So few of these, like shopping malls, will wipe out. So we have moved to online shopping quickly. TV becomes extinct. So we have moved on to video on demand. You see Netflix and things like this coming up. Large offices will not be required. People are working from home and they're very happy. Organizations are happy. Overhead spending is gone. So why do they maintain the large offices? Restaurant eating reduces. Home delivery concept has come up and it has flourished like anything. Restrict fossil fuels, renewable energy. So the movement or the transportation stopped. So we had reduction in that side also. So all these things, they became quickly visible in just 1.5 year time period. So the major problem that was there was that it was said that we will have education on convenience. So this online programming has given an aspect of that we were supposed to achieve in almost 1 decade or half decade. So we have done it in a year or year and a half. The focus of this particular paper is only on the engineering education. So as I have already said, that COVID has impacted everybody. So the major impact was on the education sector. As per a UNESCO report that I always quote, that there were 1.57 billion students that were affected across the world because of this situation, and they had to given some way of continuing their education. So with the exception in the next thing related to the engineering, like with the exception in language, the engineering definition nearly remained changed over the first time it was given or it was approved in the Royal Charter in 1828 through the Institute of Civil Engineers. It has never changed. Just the few jargons or few language things have come up, and I'll just quickly go over it. There are 4 reports that I have picked up, and they define the engineering, and these reports cannot be omitted when you go through this kind of studies. So there are several consistencies that are found in these reports, and they also elaborate the trends that are there in the development of engineering over the time, and then they also talk about the task of an engineer. Quickly looking at the technical education or engineering education, it moves from, it swings between the concepts and skills. So if you have more concepts in the educational program, you prepare an engineer, but if you concentrate on the skills development, you prepare a technician. So we have these 3 areas that are to be looked after, like engineers, technologists, and the technicians. And the remaining slide that I've shown here, it tells you that what kind of preparation or what kind of educational background is required. That on one side there is a college or university bachelor's degree or undergraduate studies are required, and on the other side there's a degree or certificate from one of the 3-year accredited technical program that is required, and then the career goals that are defined for all the 3 different technical fields. There are 4 significant reports that were published. First one in 1918. They define that what is the purpose of like engineer or engineering: improve industrial production, alleviate machine and to a learned professional and blah blah whatever. And then the role: apply scientific principles to production. They were producing managers. The preparation were to be done through the learning of science and apply science in mechanic art, and then managerial skills were to be developed. And all these things were actually defined in 1918. In 1955, Grinter came up with his report. And then if you see, there are very few differences that are there, and mainly they are the words that are different. So apply basic science for now, this time it's economic advancement that was discussed, provide technical advances to larger economic system, predominantly technical, de-emphasis emphasis on social kind of thing. And then he said that there is a two-tier system, that is undergraduate and graduate, that can look into this kind of thing. And then the third report that came up in 1985, they defined that the engineers, they serve necessary technical function in larger system. They are talking about the teamwork, the technical preparation in social context, and then they said that they are able to function as a team. And there's a last report that was published in 2004, and it talks about the engineer, how the engineer will look like in 2020. What will be a 2020 engineer? So they defined that it will be creative element of social technical system. So engineer will become a creative element, increase prosperity, avoid catastrophe, and the role will be like advance the technical breakthrough. He'll be a leader, tackle some societal problems, and then how the preparation was to be done, functional with social technical system, leadership and management. So all these kind of backgrounds were required in order to produce an engineer. So if you see all these four of them, it just moved between economy and society, and everybody came up with his own idea. But the overall perspective was that he's going to be he's going to be a part of the social technical system who can work in a multidisciplinary kind of thing. So the social technical duality appeared with all of them, and it's apparent that he's not only to be a technical person, but he has, while doing his technical work, he has to look into the societal aspects of the thing, and that has been declared as one of the major discrepancies, not the competency, sorry. So the required skills that have been defined, like the US engineering program requires grasp on science, mathematics, engineering fundamentals, communication, multidisciplinary teamwork, lifelong learning skills, awareness of associated with the social considerations and ethical consideration. So this is the crux of everything that was said over 1 century. So this is the American system definition. The American work department, or they have labor department, they have defined a engineering competency model, and they said that there are actually 6 tiers of this model. If you look at them, the first tier is kind of mostly the personal competencies. The second one is like academic competencies. The third one is more workplace competencies. And the third one is the technical competencies that are to be developed. So these are actually the 4 tiers, which are the 4 years of an engineering program. So the remaining one, tier 5 and tier 6, are job specific, or the management competencies or the managerial related things that can be learned when the engineer goes into the field. So in overall perspective, there are multiple competencies that are to be developed in order to make an engineer or a technical person useful for the society. It moves from communication to technical side, and it covers a lot of things. So I don't want to go over all of them one by one. So the competency model, ultimately the first 4 levels are the ones that are required to be looked after in the engineering education, that moves from personal effectiveness to your technical skills. The Engineering Council, United Kingdom, it looks at the competency models, and they divided these engineering competencies into basically 6 different topics that comes up: knowledge and understanding, engineering analysis, engineering design, economics, social and environmental context, engineering practice, and everything that is related to the other competencies has come up in the additional general skills. So these are the 6 basic areas that they have defined. Then there is another thing that I can't omit. It is to be mentioned here. It's a Washington Accord agreement that was signed between, it started with 5 countries in 1980s, and now there are about 22, 23 members of these this accord that defines there are some graduate attributes. If the programs around the world, they actually develop these attributes in the engineers, this workforce or this technical workforce can be used between one country to another country, and the regions can make use of the available workforce, which is in abundance in one area and which is scarcity or scarce in the other part of the world. So they can interchange and they can go over here and there. There are different learning approaches that are actually there in order to look into these or develop these competencies. Like communication, you have to have interaction, use the language. And then I have given some description. So because of the time shortage, I will not go over all of this in detail. It's available online and people can just have a quick look at it. There are three learning domains in which all these three competencies are to be developed, and that is the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, where when you look at the cognitive domain, it actually builds the knowledge of an engineer. The affective one, we are talking about the attitude of the engineer that is to be developed or at the undergraduate level. And the psychomotor is the one which is talking about the skills. And these three have to be actually coordinated with each other, like the domain of learning and the modes of learning that are required in order to develop those in that particular domain area. Like if you want to talk about the cognitive one, the mode of learning can be thoughts and thinking and all these things, and the abilities that are to be developed are memorizing, reasoning, and these kind of things. And you look at the last one, which is of the more important, or where I am actually going, is the psychomotor skills, which is by doing something or taking some actions, like some practical, some lab work. Typing is written as one of the things. So in order to develop a particular competency, you have to have the corresponding teaching methodology and the corresponding assessment methodology. Like if you want to teach somebody about the public speaking, so he cannot be taught without giving him practice onto doing the public speaking, and he cannot be assessed by a written exam. He has to go and speak, and then only he can be assessed that how much he has been able to develop. This is another a quick look at the kind of knowledge that is required for these technical manpower. Like in the engineering education, there are less skills that would be developed, like 10 to 20% of the practical in the whole program, whereas most of the program is theory based, because we have to develop the concepts. But if you look at the other side, the engineering technology education, it has 40 to 60% of the practical work or the lab work that is involved, and then remaining 40 to 60% is the theory that is required. So all these three domains, like the knowledge, skills, and the attitude or affective domain, they can be delivered in these four programs in any way. You can do it equally throughout the 4 years. You can do something in the beginning, and then in the later parts you develop the other domains. But at the end of these 4 years, these three particular domains are to be developed. The teaching approaches that we have seen over the years is that we initially moved from the teacher-centered approach, where the teacher was going and delivering the lectures and students were going according to the pace of the teachers. We moved on to the student-centered approach, where now the teacher is only taken as a facilitator, or he becomes a personal model, or he's just a facilitator in actually delivering those things. And then the new term that has emerged during this COVID-19 is technology-centered approach. So it is the combination of student-centered approach and the technology that we have. So this further gives student a convenience of having the self-study and self-tracking and control, and then going through the online assessment. But it's not the approach that it is there. It's just probably the methodology that we have. So if I compare the conventional versus the online learning, in the conventional delivery, you will see that motivation is there. Students are available face-to-face. The personal time and counseling is also available. The progress tracking is being done. Guidance is always available. Assessment and practice activities can be done on campus or in person. But if you go on into online delivery, it's mostly kind of the things that is meant for the mature people, or it's for like the self-study, mobility, self-direction, self-control. So everything is dependent on the learner, that how much motivation he has. He can achieve more if he's more motivated. And then later on in the later part of the years, that is the last semester that we have looked into this blended delivery, that some part of the conventional delivery and some part of the online delivery. So this is the new emergence of the things. The problem where that is there in the engineering education is hands-on labs to online activities. So how do we perform the labs? So the existing norms and policies that we have right now, they actually exist for face-to-face delivery. So they cover the complete program that is being delivered from face-to-face, and it lacks the address to address the challenges that we have developed because of the e-learning. So new norms are required. That means the new policies, new processes, new procedures, and then some alternate methods and techniques of the assessments and labs that have been developed over the period of time. And if I quickly go over these, like there is one idea of having the dynamic lab simulation, which gives you active learning and passively watching video, familiarization with equipment, techniques, health, safety, appreciation into intricacies that are there with the lab work, or it's actually economical. You don't waste the material. And even in the dynamic lab simulations, you can superimpose one lab onto the other one, or one screen onto the other one. Then they came up with the idea of smart data worksheets for those people who are doing actually the data analysis works. It's a complex scientific data analysis that is involved there. They have come up with the graphing, spectrum analysis, multi-step calculations, lab of or the randomized data, and the personalized feedback. So all these things have been developed. Customized smart sheets then later on came up, which can be tailored to the lab requirements, and they can be easily embedded into the VLE platform that you have, maybe Moodle, MOOC, Blackboard, whatever you have. And then this all can also be integrated into the gradebook. And then the later part, they came up with the interactive simulation with smart worksheets. So if you look at all these things, the only thing that is missing is the hands-on experience that is required for the technical program deliveries. I just quickly give you an overview of the chartered engineering registration. If you want to become a chartered engineer, like in the UK or in some of the countries, you have to have certain competencies that are to be developed. Like there are 5 standards that are given here. If you look at the first standard, it talks about knowledge and understanding to optimize the application of existing and engineering technology. Again, technology. So one out of the substandard talks in more detail about this. The second substandard, the second standard, that is the standard B, appropriate theoretical and practical methods. It talks about in solving the standard C that is there. It's technical and again commercial leadership. If you see, the word technical is appearing everywhere. Effective interpersonal skills. You can have effective personal skills more effective if you are talking to people face to face, or the team is physically available with each other. The last standard is personal commitment to professional standards, recognizing obligations to society, the profession, and the environment. That is also linked to some kind of the work that can be physically done. So I don't want to go over this into more detail. If you look at the problem which has come up, is there was a survey that was done in 2021, and it was asked from the educational people who were involved in the education, the employees, what were their desires. So if you see, the 70% of the people, they are in no rush to return to their workplace. And then 90% of the people, they feel more productive when they are working from home. And 60% people enjoy the flexibility of the work from home. All these things are applicable and can serve the purpose as long as you are talking about a science or a program which is related to the arts, where you do not require much hands-on experience, or those kind of competencies are not required. Now, we had pre-COVID norms, we had policies, processes, and things, and then we came up with something that is the COVID norms. Then we are not sure that how the future is going to look like. Are we going to have some new norms? Are we going to go? Is the world ever going to go back to the situation that was there pre-February 2019? Or we are going to live in the world that was developed for us after February 2019? Or is there going to be something new that is going to come up? Another question that is very important is this e-learning or the online learning still a bubble? Is it going to burst? Is it going to go away? Are we going to go back to the normal thing? So all these 2 questions that are there, the new norms, people are doing a lot of studies on this, and they are trying to predict that how the future is going to look like, but still we do not have any answer for this. As far as the engineering education is concerned, the part that is missing from here and that needs to be incorporated, that engineering education or the technical education cannot be completed till such time you do not have the hands-on experience, and that is not possible through the online delivery. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'm available.